يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
Are you prepared for Ramadan? From the archive of your Muslima charity presents The Awakening Ramadan, featuring 7 Muslima-centric panel sessions with over 20 esteemed speakers of your choice. You nominated them. We did the handwork to get them for you. This year shall also feature heartwarming keynote speeches from Dr. Yunus Haifa, founder, Jannah Institute, 5 p.m. Friday, 2nd April 2021. Dr. Hannah Gamal, founder, Quran Quest Institute, 9:30 p.m. Saturday, 3rd April 2021. Ustada Aisha Prime, founder, Baraka Inn, 7:45 p.m. Friday, 2nd April 2021. Plus interactive women fixed session by Ustaza Fatima Aye Bajeje and Dr. Tawakat Dabiri. Hot debate discussions, interviews, and more. What are you waiting for? Share the message, share the reward. See Bounty social handles, posters, and newspapers for details.
وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, sisters, for joining us today. Thank you for joining this marital panel discussion on the Muslima Ramadan Summit organized by Bounty's charity event. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. And once again, I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our discussion today will be on sustaining healthy marital intimacy in Ramadan despite the COVID-19 trauma. Well, it is an established fact that living conditions for many couples have changed significantly during this pandemic, with couples spending more time together and less time alone or apart, and perhaps more time with the children. With Ramadan here also, how might this affect marital intimacy between spouses? This is what we are going to be discussing today. And joining me today are Sister Medina Sani. She's a marriage trainer and founder of Empty Talk. Sister Abida Lawal, a life scientist at Tenny-Faith Exclusive. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Abida.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's nice to see you today. How have you been?
Alhamdulillah. Good.
MashaAllah. Yeah. And how are you preparing for Ramadan so far?
Alhamdulillah, preparation for Ramadan has been going good. It's more of mental, preparation at this point, just getting ourselves aware that Ramadan is just a few days away. Because for me, I believe that any productive activity at any point in time starts with, mental consciousness. So I kind of initiate an intentional conversation around Ramadan in the home to make the kids, start thinking, and my spouse and myself start thinking about the purpose of Ramadan as an opportunity for us Muslims to attain piety. So we kind of talk about Ramadan and we assess ourselves on what are the activities we did last Ramadan? How did we spend our last Ramadan? What are the things we can do to improve ourselves in this Ramadan? Who were the active players that impacted us in the last Ramadan? And where are we going to spend this Ramadan? What are we going to be doing at any point in time? So we ask all these questions and it helps us to plan and harmonize our work schedule with the school schedule to set up realistic goals so that at any point in time during Ramadan, if we're faced with distractions, we identify distractions and we stay away from distractions and focus on maximizing the gains of Ramadan. So the goal is to be the best we can be in Ramadan and reap all the benefits.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I've definitely picked some things from you. Thank you very much, Sister Abida. Let me welcome my other sister in the studio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, Sister Bushra, you're welcome. How is preparation for Ramadan so far?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. May Almighty Allah let each and every one of us witness it and be able to do good in it, inshallah.
Amen, amen, amen. So, Sister Bushra and Sister Bida, as we await Sister Medina, let's continue our discussion today on marital intimacy. So, Sister Bida, I would like to ask you this. Does intimacy, marital intimacy, does it only mean sexual relations with the spouse, or is there any other thing that is attached to marital intimacy?
For me, marital intimacy is not only about sexual intercourse. It's basically means connecting with your husband, connecting with your spouse in body and in spirit. You having common vision in and commitment to building a very good family, and it's just about both of you having, there is this ayah of the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, among the signs that He has created for us are spouses, so that we can find tranquility in them, and He has endowed us with love and mercy. So I focus on the love and mercy part, and I think an intimacy comes when you show love, when you express love, when you have empathy, and when you just have concern and you make your spouse feel desired, when you care about them, you do little things for them, you touch, you hug, you don't have any fears, you go from your head to your heart at all time, and is you are him, you connect on all grounds in act of ibadah, in your professional world, in taking care of the kids, in doing a lot of common things together. So, and I think it's this quality time and the bonding that actually transcend, or, that materialize itself when it comes to our bedroom matters. Because if you don't connect, there is no way you would have that excitement in the bedroom.
That's so good. I like that. I like the fact that you mentioned that marital intimacy does not have to do with sexual relations alone. I like it when you mentioned that, showing your partner your vulnerability, the vulnerable side of you, and, opening up to your partner is part of intimacy as well. Thank you very much, Sister Bida. Sister Bushra, I would like to ask you this. What are the ways in which we can deal with the challenges of Ramadan and, marital intimacy?
As Muslims, we must see Ramadan as being part of our lives. And without doubt, marital intimacy is part of our life too. And as Almighty Allah commanded us in the Quran, that fasting is between dawn and dusk, which means that all other activities can take place whenever we are out of Ramadan, because Ramadan is not for the whole day. We take our zahur and we move away from anything that can break our fast, including sexual intimacy. So when we break our fast, we can relate and bond with our spouse without any limit. Just like Almighty Allah told us to, that we are like farmland to our husbands, and they can actually do whatever they like with us. Whenever we are out of fasting, all other things can be done without limit. And just like it has been rightly said, when we talk about intimacy, it involves each and every one of us getting to know and getting to live and love and share with each other our aspirations, our aims, our vision, our philosophy of life, in order for us to live as true servants of Allah on earth, and for us to be able to make very big impact in the life of our children and in the world around us.
Thank you very much, Sister Bushra. I really like that. Ramadan is part of our life, and we should not take it as a burden on us. And inshallah, it will not be a burden on us. Inshallah. And I pray that Allah will count us among those who will reap the benefits of it. And may He bless us in it and beyond. Inshallah. Amen. So welcome. I'm welcoming Sister Medina to this discussion. Sister Medina, welcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister Medina, can you hear me? Okay, Sister Medina will join us shortly again. So, Sister Medina, can you hear me now? Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu
Yes,
alaikum,
I can
Sister
hear you.
Medina.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Welcome to the
Thanks for having me.
discussion. It's nice to have you with us
Okay,
today.
thank you.
So, Sister Medina, you know, it is a known fact that with the pandemic, some couples have, you know, really found it with the lockdown and having to stay more at home, even with the gradual reopening of the economy and the society. Some couples are really finding it difficult and having serious challenges, you know, getting to be together for a larger amount of time. And, you know, the man that would ordinarily go out every day and not take part in taking care of the kids usually is now being home, and the wife is having expectations that he should contribute to the caring of the kids and any other thing that is required in the house. This is one of the challenges that couples are facing these days. Now, with this challenge and several other challenges of people getting on each other's nerves, no breathing space, how do you think we can, you know, get around it with Ramadan coming here? We have to fast, we have to do ibadah, and already some people are at the point where it's not a good point in their relationship. So how are we supposed to navigate this in Ramadan? How can Ramadan affect what we are going through in our relationship today? Sister Medina? Okay, Sister Medina seems to be off. Okay, so Sister Bida, I would like to throw that question to you. Did you get it?
Can you quickly summarize it again? You said in COVID.
Yes. Yes, during this pandemic, a lot of couples have faced a lot of challenges from being together all of the time. You know, they're not used to doing that. They're used to having alone time. With Ramadan now, some masjids are open, some are not open fully yet, still not allowing sisters to come in for Salat and definitely not for Taraweeh. So couples are going to still continue these challenges they're facing in Ramadan. How can we navigate it?
Okay, that's a very good question. I think, like my sister earlier said, that Ramadan is part of our lives. So, and COVID notwithstanding, we will always have challenges. COVID is a global challenge. It's not a unique thing that affects a single family. So, in recognition of that, I think the first thing is that we first acknowledge that COVID is a global problem. It is not Abidat's only problem. It is not Bushra's problem. It is not Medina's problem. So if it is a global problem, as a Muslim, what should be my approach? My first approach is to submit to Allah, because Allah owns me and owns everything around me, and my safety, my preservation is in the hands of Allah. So when I recognize that, I mean, I'm at ease with myself. It makes me be at ease with relating with my husband and with the children and with the people around me. So when that level of consciousness comes into play, I know that even when there is an anxiety around me, I have to call on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have to make dua. I need to be patient. I need to recognize that in the life of a Muslim, Allah is always in control. So what a couple could do when they have this type of situation is the woman especially should make a conscious effort to create an enabling environment for the husband to connect with her. What do I mean by this? You might just have to, communicate more and focus more on the good things that your husband does. have positive words of affirmation. Find a way to connect with your husband through touching. Just hug him. Forget about anything he has done that you don't like. Just focus on the good things he has done that he likes. And by so doing, you are worshiping Allah through him. You are telling Allah that I recognize that I'm in this relationship to worship you, and this is half of my faith, and I don't want to lose my Jannah because of this. So when you know that this is part of your worship, during Ramadan, you would compete with your husband in doing good things. For example, you pray together, you compete with yourself in memorizing ayah of the Quran. And if he gets the ayah before the dawn of the day, why don't you tell him that you take him to reward zone after Maghrib? And then he will be inspired to do
MashaAllah.
more. And then you have some, come up with some codes in the house that the children will not recognize, like comp, like match, like quickie. When you say things like that, no man, I tell you, no man will hold a very strong face. Even you yourself will be aspiring for the next minute to spend with your spouse. So talk more, play more, flirt more, just make yourself vulnerable. Watch Islamic lectures that will help you gain Islamic knowledge and lift your spirit, and just leave everything in the lives of Allah and live like this is your last moment. Because if, as a Muslim, we recognize that the next moment belongs to Allah, I want to live this moment to the fullest in the hands of Allah with acceptance to our Almighty, then we want to make sure that we involve our spouse and it carries our family along in the spirit of togetherness and joy. And that is what Ramadan is preaching to us, that we come together, we eat suhoor together, we eat iftar together, we discuss the things that bother us, and at the same time, we pray together for Allah to ease our fears and make us the best in this world, and make us coolness of our eyes to our spouses, and make the children's coolness of our own highs as parents as well. We all know that dua Robano Atina Mini Azwajino Maminduri Atino Kurata Ayun Waja Alnulin taking and mama. I would suggest that every couple should read this 1,000 times, because it just remind you of how you should be that person that exude empathy, that exude love, that exude coolness, that exude tranquility in the house.
Okay, that's perfect. I really like that. I really like that. Thank you very much, sister. Viewers online, I hope you're gaining a lot. I am gaining a lot from this session. And feel free to call in. You have a number that will scroll on the screen. You can call into the program to ask any question that you would like to ask based on your marriage. And you can even type in your questions in the comment section as well. You can dial in via WhatsApp call, and it will be picked. You join live in the studio, and one of the panelists will answer your questions. So please feel free to join us and participate as well. So, Sister Beda, picking from where you left off, you mentioned that as the woman, we should do whatever it takes to make the home very happy and pleasing to our husband. We should be quick to forgive. So what suggestions would you have for the sisters out there to stay, fresh all day, physically, mentally, so that they're not overwhelmed with anything? What suggestions would you give to us today?
I would say that to stay fresh, I want to lift my computer up a little bit, I think, so that viewers can see me. I think it's better this way. Yeah, so to answer your question on staying fresh all day, first of all, I will say that looking fresh comes from within. You have to radiate, the joy, the confidence, the freshness, the coolness that Allah wants us to be for our spouses from within you. It comes from inside out. You have to understand that as a Muslim, our living, our death, and everything, our worship, Lillahi Rabbil Alameen, is to Allah. So when it comes to now outward appearance, after recognizing that that is for Allah, you should remember this hadith of Rasulullah SAW that says that I take care of my appearance for my wife, just like I want her to take care of herself for me, because the wife has right over the husband and the husband also have right over the woman. Understanding this, to stay fresh practically, We women have a tendency to, produce certain volatile fatty acids that could be, smelly. Forgive me, I'm a scientist. So if you
Okay.
feel like you have a bad smell and odor and all that, make sure that you take a shower at least 2 times a day. Moisturize your body and focus on the dry areas, your elbow, your feet, your hands, and wear good perfume. Wear good deodorant that is non-toxic, of course. Pay attention to the constituent of the deodorant you're going to wear. Wear good, clean clothes. Pay attention to the fabric that is used to make your clothes, not polyester, because those ones cause odor. They make the bacteria in your body produce some offensive smell for people that have wrong bacteria on their body. We do have it in different quantity because depending on our genetic component, we call it microbiome. Another thing, you should be that person that's dressed, clean and tidy. You should also do pedicure and manicure at all times. Take that time to do sugar scrub of your palm so that your palm is soft and succulent to touch when you touch your husband. Exfoliate regularly. This removes dry skin cells because these dry skin cells harbors dirt and the bacteria that causes odor. And you don't need any expensive material to make exfoliant. Just mix brown sugar with olive oil, add some lemon into it, and use that to scrub your body. Let it wait for like 5 minutes and then wash it up with warm water and your skin will be succulent. Another thing is for your breath, make sure you brush twice a day. Wash your tongue in particular to get rid of those odor. Man or woman will reject a mint fresh breath if you want to kiss him or her. So that is also a very good one. So you want to, use good moisturizer, perfume, deodorant, and wear clean, beautiful clothes. In fact, choose the type of clothes you wear nicely. If your husband loves blue, get a lot of blue indoor wears. So things that will just make you endearing to him, and that will just, make him want to come and see you, and you are there smiling. And of course, the environment is everything. Environment is that invisible hand that shapes the behavior of human being. If you want your husband to see you, don't sit in the dark. You have to make yourself obvious. You have to make yourself attractive, and with your voice, with your the way you are walking, your poise, it should be telling him something that I need you, and you should be the one to make the first move. So
Okay, that's very good. Okay, I love the tips you have given us in staying fresh all day. So a sister asked doctor, she directed her question to you, doctor. She says, how do you correct a husband who is flirting on the phone with other girls and he doesn't reciprocate this, naughtiness and playfulness and flirtish behavior with the wife at home?
I understand that, my sister, especially in this age and time where the internet is stealing intimacy and bonding between husband and wife. I will say that you, as a sister, I wouldn't focus on that person out there that is stealing his attention. I'll focus on me. For me, that is telling me that I'm not doing enough. So what I'm going to do is step up my game. I'm going to change my indoor wear. I'm going to rearrange the house, okay? Because if a man doesn't find peace in the house in terms of cluttered environment, not tidy, they don't feel that, that respite to just feel calm in the house. So you might want to think outside of the box. If you're a homemaker, make sure you get rid of the clutter before your husband, gets in. If you walk, get home early, take a shower so that you feel, smell fresh, feel fresh before he comes in. Flirt with him. Wash your hair regularly and make beautiful hairstyle. I tell you what, nothing gets the attention of a man more than a beautiful hairdo. So when you do that, and also talk to him. A lot of times you don't communicate. It's just salam alaikum, salam alaikum. It's more than salam alaikum. This is your husband. So you need to call him, names. Look for their pet names. Honey, sugar. just whisper in his ears. You're not saying anything, just whisper in his ears. And he's like, who is that? And you're like, that's me. And you're running in the house. That is what he's looking for outside. You give it to him inside. When you wear clothes in the house, make sure they are contour showing clothes. Expose your cleavage to him. Adorn that cleavage with dropping earrings
Mashallah.
and dropping pendants. Just direct the attention from your head to that cleavage and make yourself seen. When you start doing all that and you wear sexy fragrance in the house and you light beautiful candles, he will come. I tell you, what he's going to see outside, if he has it inside, he's going to come. Your bed linen, spray it with nice fragrance. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam suggests that when we finish our menstruation, we should apply musk. If you are not using musk, my sister, it's not only in the hadith, there is musk. Ask the Hausas, they use it. Ask the Arabs, they use it. And it is very organic and it's very good and it lasts long. Rub it on your bed, rub it on a little bit on your private parts, and then go to him. When you smell good, your scent will attract him no matter where he is. He will think about you. And I want to tell you something. If your husband goes out to work, be that person that writes little notes. For fun notes, drop it in his pocket. Let him discover one lovely, sweet love note in his pocket. If you pack his lunch, put love notes inside it. And when he's at home, when he's at work, because you want him to think about you, send him text message, bad text message. Remind him of those, experience you had, those escapade you had in the bathroom or in the closet or in the bed or in the kitchen, and tell him you want a replay of that. He is gonna come. So again, my sister, make your dua and tell Allah to redirect his heart and his body and his mind back to you, and then do your work. Rasulullah says, tie your camel and put your trust in Allah. If your husband loves blue, make your bed sheet blue in the house. It will come. I will stop there.
Okay. Thank you very much for those beautiful tips. I love you, sister, for Allah's sake. Thank you very much. I'm almost certain that our viewers are gaining immensely from your talk this evening. So, Sister Brushra, are you with me? Can you give me about 2 things we can do to maintain intimacy in Ramadan?
Hello, I can't hear you very well.
Hello. Yes, I said, can you talk about 2 things we can do to maintain intimacy in Ramadan?
Now, when Ramadan comes, just like I've said, there are so many things we have been doing before that we need not stop doing it. And the first thing is for bond together. Ramadan has brought us together.
Okay, we have a call, Sister Bushra. We have a call coming in. Hello, sister. Can you hold on, Sister Bushra? Let's take this call. Somebody is calling in. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you this evening?
Jazakumullah khair. We didn't know you were going to go this raw, mashallah. My question is this. It's always nice, or everything you're saying, but what can one do when the Abu, your husband, he doesn't like to be romantic, he just doesn't like it. So in that situation, what can you do? He doesn't even want you to put on those nice dresses, those kippy, sexy dresses that Dr. Abida is talking about. I want to ask, what can one do? Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, cool. Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very much. Okay, so Dr. Abida, you're going to answer that question right after Sister Bushra finishes her talk, okay? Thank you. Sister Bushra, can you go ahead, please?
As I was saying, that we need to bond together. We need to do things together in order to improve our intimacy. And one of them is that we should eat together. We should pray together, perform our spiritual activities together, even along with our children. And when we talk about intimacy, it doesn't end in the day. In the night, we should create time for our husbands. All that we are doing before Ramadan is also allowed in the night of Ramadan. We should put on good dresses, just like my sister has emphasized, not to make a repeat of what she has said. We should make ourselves
Okay.
available for our husband, show to him that we love him, and always assure him every time that we are available for him. We should make the environment very clean and make sure that at any point in time, we do whatever we are expected to do. And don't create unnecessary crisis in the home. Maybe because of the uh, assignment or the activities of Ramadan, we should make sure that we create opportunity to have time with our husbands. We should try as much as possible to make available for ourselves any assistance that will make us to have time. For example, if you want to uh, entertain people to come and break fast in your house, it's not only
Okay.
compulsory that you be the one that will take up the cooking. You can contract it out, and when the time comes, they will be there to serve and do every other thing so that you will not wear yourself out. When your husband is available, you will be complaining of one thing or the other. You are expected in Ramadan to stay together because most of the activities are downplayed in Ramadan. So it's an opportunity for us. So the first thing is for us to maintain that bonding in the day, and in the night we should make ourselves available, and anything that will make us not to be available, we should try a way around it so that we should not have excuses that will make us not to be intimate with our husbands at any point in time, either in Ramadan or outside Ramadan.
Okay, thank you very much, Sister Bushra. Let us, find ways in which we can reduce the stress that we put on ourselves as women during Ramadan. Let's not try to do it all by ourselves. Now, Sister Bushra, the sister that called in, Sister Miriam, asked that what if your husband doesn't just like you dressing in those, attractive or seductive way, and he doesn't want you doing all those things you have described. Sometimes some men can be quite difficult. I agree with the caller. Some men can be like that. Perhaps some give the excuse of, religious, the intensity of their religiosity. Sometimes just for different reasons, some men can come up with such excuses. So how do you handle that, Sister Bidat?
Thank you, my sister. I agree with you. Some of our men could be super conservative, but I tell you what, we need to realize something that I let me quote something that I read that I really like. It says that when a man is in love with you, you becomes his weakness. Then he becomes your own strength. So if he is your husband, Allah has given you that strength to know how to walk around the things that he's saying no to, that he's going to enjoy. But one thing you have to understand is you have to be patient. You are not going to use your tongue on him because of that. No, that is not a no-go area. Neither are you going to force it on him. No, that is no no-go area. You have to enter into that space of where you want him to be by looking for common grounds. What is it that he enjoys, that he loves whenever he's around you? Perhaps he likes good food. The day you want to, wear this type of clothes, not too tight-fitting ones, you go from modest to, then you start scaling it up. You have to make it gradual. If he likes food, you're going to make his best dish on that day. And then you can wear a long dress, a nice jalabia. There are some jalabia that are still exquisitely enthralling, like enticing. They are black, but we still, or even navy blue or green with nice embroidery. Put your jewelry in it and make a nice hairdo. Serve him and then sit with him and talk. If you see him smiling, that's what he likes. You go from there. And then you look at what else you can tweak. Then you keep tweaking it gradually and gradually. Another thing is, every man, the way to a man's heart is through his food and some other things. Now, his business, his source of income is another key. get involved in a source of income. If you're really interested in how he makes his money and you support him in orphans and you do everything to support him, he will always want to come to you for advice, for support, and that is where your own strength lies. The day you know he's coming to discuss, you wear that thing, not too much, scale it up a little bit, talk about it, and if he knows he has to keep coming to you, you'll be betting him with everything he likes until you get to that point that he's going to get comfortable. Because I tell you, if you take him to one level and he find that thing he says no, super, super enjoyable, he's going to be the one demanding for it. You just have to take it easy on him and you have to pray. There is one dua that I always make, even if I want to try a new dish for my husband, I make it. Robana atina min ladun karamatan wa hayyi lana min hamrina rashada. Wallah is a very powerful dua. Pray if you want to go and choose a nice dress to wear for him. If you want to go and make a nice dish, if you're not sure if he's going to like it, make that dua. Allah will guide you and direct you to make what will make him happy. That will also be comforting to you as well, and you will enjoy, because at the end of the day, it has to be mutual. It has to be something you love and what he loves. So another thing that I also wanted to mention before is that a lot of times when we are nursing babies, or when we've been married for like 20, 30 years, women are breast sag. Wear push-up bra. Even if you are going to wear jalabia, put on push-up bra and open the button in front when you are going to serve him. It's love flowing jalabia now. You're exposing something. If you want to step up that game, get somebody, that a beautiful sister that knows how to make henna. Write his name on that girl's. Your body is talking. You tell me, with time, he's going to be the one wanting to see more. You will want to see more. You just go and get this jalabia is covering. It's not even making you see what I want you to see. Let me put a sekatwa spaghetti. That's how sekatwa spaghetti will become acceptable in the house.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful, Dr. Abida. Thank you so much for this tip. So one variety is the spice of life, as the saying goes. So what works for Sister A may not necessarily work for Sister B. So you have to keep re-strategizing, brainstorming on the different ways the different things you can do to entice your man and keep your home, keep him happy, because when he's happy with you, you're happy with him, you have a happy home together, inshallah. So Sister Bushra, let's quickly take this question from the sister that typed in a question. When a man has trampled upon you in the past, brought you down to your lowest, to where you don't have enough self-esteem about yourself, you don't have adequate self-confidence, how do you connect with that man? How do you keep loving him? How do you remain beautiful and in harmony with such a man?
Now, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. One spirit that a Muslim should have is the spirit of forgiveness. Even if the person that has trampled upon your right is not your husband, since you are still living with him and you are going to still live for a long time together, as Muslims, we are expected to have the spirit of forgiveness. And if we still have some of those things, or he still persists in doing those things, I think the first thing is for us to call his attention to it. At a time when you know he will listen to what you want to say or what you want to tell him at any point in time, you should try as much as possible, iron things out with him in love. And remember the first time two of you came together. Because one thing that many of us forget about is after we have gotten married for so long a time, rather than seeing the best out of each other, we start to count on what we have done against each other, which Islam does not support. So there is no gainsaying the husband has trampled upon your right, fine. But since you have no other place to go and you are still going to live together, the best thing is for you to make the house habitable for both of you, and for you to be comfortable in that house, there is need for you to communicate among yourselves. Sit him down, iron things out, and have the spirit of forgiveness. And at the end of your discussion, you open up a new page in your lives. And one thing about men is that there are some that will come immediately and say sorry. If you have the type of man like that, you will be a fortunate woman. But there are some, they will not say anything, but you see a change of action. But if a woman does not remove it from her mind, no matter what the man does, it may not affect her, or it may not have a positive effect on her again. So as a woman, you must have that spirit of forgiveness and be ready to accept your husband again, so that you open up a new life, a new page in your lives, and you start on a new note. And from there, by now, all of you will have known each other, and you will know what you want, you will know what you will also want, and nobody will want to trample on each other's right again. And if you have such a man that will keep on making such mistakes, since you don't have any other place to go, I think patience will take lead there. And one thing that, just like Almighty Allah said in the Quran, is that if there is a person between you and him or her where there is enmity, if you continuously do good to such person, at a point in time, the person will have a rethink. So if you are the lowly type, you are the one that does what your husband is expecting you to do, in spite of bad behavior coming from him. At a point in time, you will have no option than to change. And one thing about Islam is that dua is the sword of a Muslim. So when you find out the situation is going rough, the best thing is to go back to Allah. Go back to Almighty Allah and ask him to solve the problem for you. He's the one in control of everybody's heart. The heart of everybody is in between his two fingers, and he can direct it the way he likes. So as a Muslim wife, we need to be a praying wife. Pray for him and try to have the spirit of forgiveness. Don't try to retaliate on whatever he has done, or want to do the same thing back to him, all because he has done this, I will do this. It doesn't bring about intimacy, and it doesn't bring about a comfortable environment around the couples and even around the children. You do more harm to the children in the family by the time, because it's like two elephants fighting, and it is the children who are the grasses that will suffer for it. So as a Muslim woman, we need to have that forgiving spirit, and don't have that spirit of retaliating on your husband. Be a prayerful woman and always get ready at any point in time to be in his support, in spite of whatever he will have done.
Thank you, Sister Bushra. So, from what Sister Bushra has talked to us about, I think that she has mentioned some things we can use in settling crises between spouses. So, Sister Bushra, I would still like you to mention maybe one or two more steps we can take in settling crises among spouses during Ramadan and even after Ramadan.
Now, actually, as Muslim women, we should guide against having crisis in our homes, because it's better not to have it than trying to solve the problem. But let's say the problem has come now. The first thing is for us as Muslim women to look at the root cause of the crisis. Because if you don't know the root cause, there is no way you will know the solution to the problem at hand. By the time you are able to identify it on your own, there is need for communication between the husband and the wife. And the communication will only be effective when it is raised on at a condition when both of you are actually available and in the right state of mind. So as a woman, you need to study your man and see and take note of a time when he will be ready for such discussions. So in order for you to solve crisis, know the root cause of the crisis, create time for communication, because communication is the key to
We have a
any
call.
intimacy or
Sister Bushra, please
compatibility
hold on.
that you may
Assalamu
pray
alaikum.
for.
Okay, go on.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear sister, what's your name and where are you calling from?
May Allah reward you, sisters. What
Ameen.
wonderful session and educative session we're having here. I just want to quickly ask if it is permissible for husbands to suck their women's their wives' breast? And is there a restriction on this as well during Ramadan compared to when it is said that it is allowed to beg or kiss during Ramadan, in as much the husband or the spouse can actually hold themselves without going beyond the limit of what is permissible while, fasting?
Okay. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, Sister Bushra, please go ahead with your answers. Sister Bida will handle that question shortly.
So, as I've said, after recognizing the basis of the crisis, you should create a communication. You try to communicate among yourselves. And while communicating, is not a case of the person that has won or the person that has lost in the discussion. It's about bringing about what is actually the root cause. And at the end of the day, as a woman, you should be ready to say sorry first. Even if you realize you are the one that is in the right. One thing about men is that the ego in them will always prevent some of them from saying sorry. But you will catch a man, especially Muslim man that is conscious. If in spite of the fact that from your discussion it is now clear that he's the one that has offended you, and in spite of that, you hug him, you move nearer him, and you show a lot of love to him and say, in spite of everything, I still love you. I'm very sorry for everything that happens. Let's move on in our lives. And you find out he will reciprocate better than what you have done to him. And in spite of that, if you realize that there are still some issues that are still nothing that you need to iron out, it may not be immediately. You may fix another time, a neutral time when all of you will be happy again, and you will just point out those points. And another thing is that when you talk about crisis in the family, there are times when it's not only what happened immediately that causes the crisis. There are times when the cause of crisis are accumulated issues. So as a Muslim woman, we should try as much as possible, whenever you have solved an issue, make sure you forget about it and you start on a clean note. Because most of the time it's so amazing that when you have opportunity of settling crisis between spouses, you find out they will be referring to 2 years, 3 years, even 10 years. This one does not make a family life to be comfortable. So once you have solved a problem, let it go and start on a new note. And make sure that all those points that you have raised that have caused this crisis, you don't repeat it again. And whenever there are situations that will bring it about, try as much as possible to avoid it. And just like we have been saying, that we cannot underestimate the importance of prayer in our lives as individual and as family. So we should continuously pray for and each free. There is no way we can live together without having one crisis here and there, because that is the way Almighty Allah made us. Even if you are born with from the same family, from the same mother, we will have one difference or the other. So we just need to, and just like the Yoruba people used to say, if you fight once and you decide not to reconcile, when will you have time to fight at another time? We are born to live with each other, to have differences and settle the differences and move on in our lives. And because we are intimately connected together, just like Almighty Allah has said, He has put between us mercy and tranquility. We should always call it to mind. There was a man that came to Umar during the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and told him, I hate my wife, I want to divorce him. The Prophet Umar said, you want to divorce him and you hate him. Where do you put the mercy which Almighty Allah?
Oh, we lost Sister Bushra there. I hope she can come back soon to join us. Sister Bida, let's quickly answer these questions. A sister sent in her question and said she has an arranged marriage and she has not found ways to connect with her husband, to grow the love. What would you advise her to do?
That's a big one. The thing is, I want to say something that we need to understand that because the marriage is arranged, it's not the reason why,
Okay.
it may not necessarily be the reason why you're unable to connect with the man. Because whether it's
Okay.
arranged or not, you're going to marry someone that you're
Mm-hmm.
not related to. You're going to marry someone that you don't have the same background with. So I
Okay.
would say that
Okay.
the first thing for every Muslim is make dua. When you make dua, have an open mind. You have to change your mindset
Mm-hmm.
that, oh, it's arranged, that's why. No. Get that arranged premonition or stigma out of it, get it out of the equation. And then try to
Okay.
see this man as that guy that I saw you on in the grocery store who likes you, or saw you at the store in the masjid and likes you, and talk to the imam about you. That way you can
Mm-hmm.
appreciate the good things in him. You can see things that you have in common. You can probably see interests, matching interests between both of you. And you can also raise things that interest him, engage him so that
Okay,
both
we
of you
have a caller in the studio, Sister Bida. Please hold on. Hello. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear sister.
Okay,
You're welcome.
I just need to ask this question and seek the speaker's opinion on how
Okay.
a sister can handle a husband who is always moody and irrespective of whatever the wife does or how she tries to make him happy, it doesn't get to happen. And the brother is always ready to keep malice. So how does the Muslim or the wife handle such situation, especially during Ramadan?
Okay. Welcome. Thank you very much, sister. So, Dr. Bida, quickly,
Okay, yeah.
with
So
what you were talking about.
what I was talking about. So basically try to connect with him, and connecting with
Okay.
him means, look for whatever it is that interests him and try to engage with him. And you talk about what interests you too. Talk more often.
Okay.
Communication is key. And you just do things together, and over time the love will build. And pray to Allah
Okay, that's good.
to put love and mercy between both of you. And inshallah, Kudratillah, you find one another, as best of spouse.
Inshallah, inshallah. So, sister, just try to have a positive mind and try to look for the positives of it. That's what Dr. Bida has recommended, and try to work on it. And inshallah, Allah will make you happy. So, quickly, and in addition to what Sister Bushra was saying, with in terms of crisis, managing crisis in the home, if at any point you feel that you and your partner, you and your husband are not communicating adequately, that you can't seem to hear each other because you're not willing to be quiet or understand each other, then it is okay. By Allah's mercy, it is okay to seek counseling, to seek help, where you get to talk to a mediator that will, be a neutral person and help two of you to lay the issues on the table. When you put all the pieces of the jigsaw on the table, then you can easily fix it together and work on it. That's the beginning of, finding solutions. So before it resolves into resentment and hatred, and then you start seeking for a divorce, try to look for help, competent help. Are you with me, sisters? Try to look for help and find a solution to your problem. And look for unbiased help, not necessarily family members, because sometimes when we go to family members, by nature of the way we are as emotional beings, we are bound to choose sides because we are either more drawn or more attached to either of the partner. Thank you very much. Sister Bushra. Sister Bushra, are you with me? Assalamu alaikum. Hello, Sister Bushra. Okay, so Sister Bida, let me quickly take these questions to you. I'll put two questions together. A husband that wants to have sex in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, is that permissible? Should sisters allow it? And also the question from the sister that is asking about the limits of what the sexual relations you can have with your husband during Ramadan? She mentioned the sucking of the breast and other things. How permissible are these things in Ramadan, and should they be allowed?
Okay, thank you, sister. So for last 10 days of Ramadan, I don't think there is a particular ayah that I know of or any hadith that I know. I'm not a sheikh. I'm not an authority when it comes to that area, but I know that any form of sexual intimacy, provided is not through the anal region and is not haram, is allowed after you break your fast. I don't think there is anywhere that says last 10 days of Ramadan. So if we are conscious and we are intentional about seeking the pleasure of Allah by pleasing our husband during Ramadan, I don't think last 10 days is an exception to it. You can communicate, you can talk, you can have mutual understanding, but I don't think it is acceptable that you deny your husband after Maghrib up until Fajr because it's last 10 days of Ramadan. The second one is limits when it comes to what can be done or what cannot be done. Of course, whatever it is that is not acceptable, what is it called? That is, whatever it is that is not acceptable during the day of Ramadan, like touching or whatever it is, stay away from it. Touching, intimacy is not acceptable during the day. Whatever that will break your fast is not acceptable during the day. But whenever you have broken your fast, then your husband or your wife is permissible to you. That's what the sheikh said. And you can enjoy yourselves, including sucking of the breast. I remember that we went to a couple of conferences here in Houston, and we asked this question oftentimes, and the sheikh would tell us nothing stops you from exploring any part of the body of your wife except the anal part and getting into her during menstrual period. Those two were clearly stated not acceptable in Islam. They are haram, so you can't do that. Another caution that was added during in talking of breast is that if the wife is breastfeeding, the husband should try not to suck, because you don't want to have a mouthful. You don't want to be sucking the mom, and the child is also taken from the breast milk, so that your wife doesn't become your own foster mother, and then it becomes unlawful for you to marry the woman. So if you have to, if the breast milk accidentally gets into your mouth, just spit it out. That's what the sheikh said. I'm not a sheikh. Please don't quote me. This is what I learned from lecture, because I know a lot of times we get these questions from nursing mother, but nothing stops your husband from exploring your body or sucking your breast. Allah halam.
Okay.
I want to add something quickly on the marriage and understanding yourself. If any of us have not read this book or listened to this lecture by Sheikh Sikodi on 5 love languages, I think we should do that. It's basically telling us the 5 languages that men and women use to express their love, and that can help mitigate crises in the house. Quality time, sense of touch, words of affirmation, and I think the last 2, I can't remember. If I remember, I will let you know. But there are basically 5 main love languages that every spouse, irrespective of religion or whatever race, knows. It's just universal that most women and men ask. And if we understand that, it makes matrimony or marital life a lot smoother and easier for us to handle. May Allah accept it from us.
Okay, so I mean, the remaining 2 are gift and service. Act of service. So that's the remaining 2 love languages.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. Yes, Sister Bushra, I want you to also take the question on the last 10 nights of Ramadan, please, with regards to sexual intimacy.
Hello.
Sister Bushra, yes. Can you tell us, during the last 10 nights of Ramadan, what level of sexual intimacy should there be between spouses?
I think the question has been answered.
Okay, yes. I was thinking if you had 1 or 2 things to add again.
I don't have any other thing because there is no hadith, no Quran that specified that the last 10 days one should exempt himself or herself from sexual intimacy, especially when you are married. Anytime after iftar, when you are breaking your fast, you are free to interact with your spouse the way you like.
Okay.
So she has actually answered the question correctly.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Sister Bushra, a sister asked a question. She said, her husband has anger issues and sometimes he gets moody. Hold on, please. I'll get back to that. Hello, sister. We have a caller on the line. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How can a
Okay,
woman
please speak.
stand under a man that is beating her every time, and even during Ramadan?
Come again, sister.
Then it's only because of the something that I'm like,
Hello.
phone, and I'm able
Hello,
to stand.
sister. You have a lot of background noise. We can't hear you.
I love online.
Hello.
And that's
Okay,
why
we may have. Hello, can you hear us? We may have to end that call. She has a lot of background noise. Please, if you're calling in, try to stay away from any noise that may be interacting with, we in the studio getting you clearly. Okay, so sister, please try to call in again and we'll take your question. So I was asking Sister Bushra, the husband has anger issues, he gets moody, he's just not happy, he can keep malice at the slightest of instances. How can she handle this, or what is the way forward for her?
Thank you. When you talk about husband like that, the first thing is to try to study him more. Try to know his area of interest. No matter how moody he is, he will love one thing or the other. So you need to enter him through those things that he actually loves. So whenever he's doing those things, you need to develop your own interest along with it too. So get yourself ready to, maybe you love watching football or doing any other thing like that. At that particular time, you make yourself available. That may be an opportunity for you to talk together. He may like listening to news and doing analytical doing analysis of issues. You sit down with him. If that is what he loves, you start from what he loves to what you are actually taking him to. And another thing, in such a situation, there are times when some men may not even want to tolerate you in the first instance. But it takes patience and a lot of perseverance for women to actually get such men out of their situation. One thing is, there will be a point when you will be out of it, but it may take some time and it may cost you a lot of embarrassment. There are times when you talk to him and just walk away. You don't give up because you are still together. At another time, you open up the discussion and you try to let him know and another thing, as a woman in the house, you need to make your home very, very accommodating, be jovial, and try to throw in so many jokes. When you see him wearing a type of dress, be funny with him. He may not laugh, he may not like it, but as it continues like that, he will try to adjust. And when you see anything that is good on him, try to appreciate it and let him know that you actually appreciate what he has on. He may not appreciate you. And at times when you put on something good, go and show yourself to him. See my new hairdo. I did it for you. How do you see it? Do you like it? What do I have to do with it? At least you are married to me. Do you want me to show it to another person? So please appreciate. Or I want money for this hairdo. And I will do another one next time, so that I will go and tell the person that did it that my husband has paid, so that he will use more time and be more careful about doing it next time. By the time you do this, it may take some time, but I think there are men like that have gone out of such moodiness. But it takes the woman a lot of patience and perseverance and consistency. You don't get bored but doing it just for a short time and thinking, oh, let me just give up. Because there is no way somebody will be there and will not just have an area of interest. So the first assignment is to know, what does he actually like. There are some, he may like just doing askar or reading the Quran or doing some spiritual thing. You too, you can decide to sit down with him when he's reading the Quran. After reading, you open up discussion with him. Because you have shown interest in what he likes, he will also want to satisfy you by listening to you. When you talk today for 2 minutes, by next week it may extend to 5 minutes. and you are taking him out gradually from that position where he is. And lastly, I want to emphasize again, prayer is key. We should continuously pray that Almighty Allah will let him realize that moodiness does not even create long life for one. You need to just be there and be lively in order for your life to continue and for you to live a very enjoyable life, even within the family and outside the family.
Inshallah, Amen, Amen. Thank you very much. Sister Bushra has been emphasizing prayer, 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 because as Muslims, we know that prayer is the sword of the believer. Thank you very much, Sister Bushra. There is another question I would like to answer. The sister is asking that about women in domestic violence cases. In their homes, their husbands beat them even in and out of Ramadan. Please, 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 as a counselor, as a couple and family counselor, I keep saying this. Domestic violence is not part of Islam. Islam does not teach men to beat women. It should not be tolerated. You have to speak out. I'm not saying fight your husband because he may be, stronger than you, but you have to find help for yourself. Do not stay in an abusive marriage where physical violence is being exerted on you. Please stay safe. Seek for help. In Lagos State, Nigeria, there are a lot of public service departments that are in charge of this. The DSVRT is one. Seek counseling help for yourself in order to regain your mental health and your emotional well-being. And then if you have to involve the family members, do so on time. Don't say he has only beaten me once. Don't wait till it becomes the fourth or the fifth. Allah forbid. There are people that have been saying they are waiting for their because of the children in the marriage, and they ended up dying in that marriage from one beating or the other. Allah forbid that it happens to us. Allah forbid that we are used as negative statistics for the world to learn from. So please, if you're in an abusive marriage, find a way to help yourself. Let the family members know and save yourself, please. So, sister, before I go to Sister Abida, Sister Bushra, I want you to tell us the limits of marital intimacy as fasting couples. Just briefly, please, the limits of marital intimacy as fasting couples.
As fasting couples, the limit, just like I've emphasized the other time, is between the dawn and the dusk. And when we talk about the limit, it doesn't mean that as husband and wife, you cannot shake yourself, you cannot hug yourselves. And the only thing is that there are individual differences. We need to have noted ourselves. There are some, what triggers sexual arousement in you. Maybe if you move away from all those things when you are fasting, because just like it happened during the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it was called kissing his wife, and the Sahabas were amazed. Then he said, I'm not like any one of you because I have self-discipline. There are some men, when they kiss their wife, they get aroused. So if you know that is your own nature, you need to get away from it in order for you not to commit what is not expected during Ramadan. Then, when you talk about the women too, we should know ourselves, and we should know, because when we talk about the answer to this question, is not a general one. There are individual differences. There are some people that are easily aroused. There are some that may not be affected. And age is also part of what we are talking about. When you marry a young and vibrant lady in the during Ramadan, you need to be very careful. The same thing with young men, they need to be very careful too. Then the limit is that individuals should know themselves and know the level at which they can go. It's not a general, there is no general answer to it. But the main thing is that anything that will make you to commit to the extent of breaking your fast, in the afternoon of Ramadan should be avoided, because the Prophet ﷺ said, if through anything you are able to meet Ramadan, even if you fast for the whole of your life, you may not gain the reward of that one that you have missed in Ramadan. So we should avoid it. And we all know that even the punishment for breaking fast in the consciously in Ramadan is very, very intense. You either fast consecutively for 2 months, set 60 slaves free, or you feed 60 people. So these are very deterrent punishments that we should not even think of doing as conscious Muslims. So may Almighty Allah make it easy for each and every one of us.
Amen. Sister Bushra, the last question I have for you today. Sister Dr. Abida, the last question I have for you today. How do we create a romantic environment? Even in Ramadan, despite COVID, regardless of if you are newlywed or you've been married for 20 years, how do we create this environment in the home and keep creating it so that the home, our spouse can always find the home welcoming and find happiness almost all of the time?
Alhamdulillah. I think for the most part, we've said most of the things. The first thing is for us to be conscious, have this positive mindset that I want my home to be welcoming and my home to be a peaceful abode for my spouse. So you as a woman have to get in touch with your inner girl, meaning you get creative. Don't forget yourself. Get creative. You can, make the home, rearrange the home in the spirit of Ramadan. And like Sister Bushra said, I totally agree with her. Speak up. Carry your husband along. Let him know what you're trying to do. You are rearranging the house and reorganizing the house, and he's thinking what's going on. Show the excitement that, Ramadan is coming. We need to make the house look good and clean, and do some spring cleaning and reorganize your space such that it's welcoming. You don't want to do too much because you don't want to make your environment too sensual that your husband will commit and break his fast during the day. No. But you want the house to be pleasant enough for both of you to be able to communicate freely, for you to be able to perform act of ibadah, and for you to, after iftar, be able to sit together comfortably in a tidy and clean environment and warm environment to break your fast and talk about all the good things you were able to do in the day that makes your Ramadan for that day fulfilling and what you can do for the following day. For Ramadan as well, after Maghrib, since we have the license to explore after Maghrib, mashallah, go ahead and give him a quickie before he goes to masjid. If he's going to masjid, if he's not going to masjid and he's tarawih at home, give him a quickie. Let him, think about something, or maybe after his tarawih, give him a very nice escapade, and then sleep. And tomorrow, by the time you wake up for your tahajjud, you continue your dua and keep doing your ibadah. Again, let us remember that a family that prays together stays together. We cannot say that in the light of trying to make our home romantic, we forget our dua. Both of you should, pray together, supplicate together, read the Quran together. By doing things together, you naturally connect more and you bond more. And you see that will just translate to very good intimacy by the time you get into the corner of your bedroom. So again, take care of yourself. If you like, you can, declutter your house. After Ramadan, you can put a bulb in your bedroom. There are so many things you can do. But more importantly, talk to your husband often. Try to not be complacent with your own look. Ask for his opinion on what he would like, the type of food he would like, whatever it is that he would want you to do. You also share your ideas, write it down, and then explore together within the limits of Ramadan. And inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you would both enjoy it. Another thing that you should not forget is that our husbands are always happy when we connect with their family. So reach out to your in-laws and do some extra things for them. You're not, even if you don't get along with them, just do it, not because of anything, because of Allah and because you want your husband to be happy and you want to worship Allah in the month of Ramadan. So you can also listen to Islamic lectures together. It's going to educate you, it's going to lift both of you up spiritually. And at the end of the day, you will realize that you are not only connecting with one another during Ramadan, you are connecting with your in-laws, you are connecting with friends, you are connecting with family, and you are connecting with a bigger community, and you are becoming a better version of yourselves too. And Allah will bless your union, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. So our last question for today is, a sister said she has a husband that is a lady husband. He doesn't want to work and he just wants to do ibadah alone. Sister Bushra, what do you think she can do with such a husband? What would you advise her to do?
Thank you very much. What I usually see to such things is that many women actually condone lazy husbands, because many of us are caught unawares. When we started courting, we will have been noticing these things in the man, but most of us, we just overlook it and think maybe the man will change. And there are some of us, even when we get married, we indulge the men. Some don't even know how to ask the husband for his responsibility, especially when the woman is working and is comfortable. So the man will take it as if it's his birthright for the woman to take up the responsibility in the home. So I think for the woman, I want to advise her first, you should call the attention of the man to it and give him advice. Then secondly, let him be responsible, in the sense that for the housekeeping, you should sit down and agree. How is he going to take up the responsibility? And if you need to assist, you need to iron it out. But it's not for you to just keep on doing it without asking him. And you only ask when you don't have enough. And by the time he started sitting at home, just praying, you let him realize that it's woman that is expected to sit at home, not men. Men are expected to work and feed their family. But if it's the other way around, then that is not an ideal situation. So the first thing is for you to sit down and talk over it together. And my sister, one thing is that in such a situation, I pray the marriage has not been too long. Because if the marriage has been up to 5-10 years, the man may not be able to change again, because you have actually indulged him. Maybe there are some women that even go to the extent of buying clothes for the husband. They will give birth, they will be pregnant, they will buy the children things for themselves, and they will even do the naming ceremony, buying clothes for the husband. But at a time, they will come to realize that this man is not doing what is expected to do. But the man is used to it already. So my advice is that even while courting, we should note those red and dangerous areas in our relationship. And we should be able to guide it and make sure that it doesn't extend beyond what is actually acceptable. And if you have been there, the first thing is that call his attention to it, give him options. There are some that they can't think by themselves. Then you know his capability. What can he do? If you need to assist him in setting him up, there is no problem about it. Set him up with what you think he can do better. And by the time he's doing it, help him in sustaining it and making him to gain tremendously from it. But if you find out you cannot do it, just like my sister has emphasized, I think you need to contact somebody that will help out. If he has a friend, if he has friends that can talk to him and make him change his position, fine. But if not, I think you need a neutral person that can actually come out to him and tell him what is expected to do and give him options on what he can do in order to keep the family going, rather than being at home while the wife go about doing all the work and taking up all the responsibilities in the home. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Salam
salam.
to barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me,
Walaikum
Sister
salam.
Bida?
Walaikum salam.
Sister
Yes.
Bushra?
Naam, we can hear you. Salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sister Bushra.
It seems our moderator is having issues with our network.
Yes. I don't know if we have any other question. And if you still have anything to say, Sister Bushra, you can continue
I
on
think
the
on the
last
issue,
question.
for now, I don't think except if you have anything to add to the
There
question
is
of
something
the
I would
lazy
like
husband.
to. Somebody said I have a very lazy husband. I pay all the bills, and he doesn't want to work.
Pay her
I always
bills.
want to
Yes,
do
that's the
something. I
question
think
I
that's
was
what you
asking.
just answered. One thing I want to add is that one of the sisters asked the question about the husband, not respecting her, and she's been at a very low point in her life or something like that. I want to say that a lot of times we women we forget ourselves unconsciously because we get so busy taking care of the children, taking care of our husband, taking care of our in-laws, and we forget that there is need for us too to look inwards and grow ourselves up. So it's very important that at times it may not even be the husband that is responsible for it. He may not even realize he's doing it. So like you said, it's good for the man to be aware of that. So you talk about it. And for you as a woman, also look inwards and see what you can do to boost yourself, to be aware of your self-worth, to boost your confidence, to boost your self-esteem. And look inwards and smell the roses in you. Think of what is that thing that gets you fired up, your passion, and work into it. The moment you see that you're able to do something with your hand and it's fruitful, it's just the success will just be building success, and then you become a better person, and then you see that your relationship too will improve because your husband will appreciate you more.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abida. I'm sorry I lost connection a short time ago. Sister Bushra, I'm happy we had this discussion tonight. Thank you very much for your time. One last word, please, Sister Bushra, quickly. 30 seconds. Any last line?
I can't hear you very well.
Any last line for us? Any piece of advice? One last piece of advice, quickly, Sister Bushra.
Alhamdulillah that we are witnessing another Ramadan in our lives. I
Ameen,
want to
inshallah.
each and every one of us that just like we have emphasized, we need to rejuvenate our matrimonial intimacy during this Ramadan. And we need to make sure that we upgrade our spirituality too. And try as much as possible to be beneficial to those around you. Because just like it happened last year, we are witnessing this one. We are praying we witness more of it. But as Muslims, as we are entering into this Ramadan, we should see it as our last one and put in the best that is in us. So that by the time we are coming out of Ramadan, we'll be actually referred to as the graduate of Ramadan. because we will have imbibed all the goodies of Ramadan, and Almighty Allah will have rewarded us abundantly. May Almighty Allah make it easy for us to perform all the good things in Ramadan and reward us accordingly, inshallah, bi kudratillah.
Amen, inshallah. Amen. 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 Sister Bida, any last line?
I would like to just say thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of this wonderful summit. We pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all that we have said to be beneficial to each and every one of us. I have gained a lot. I've learned so much as well. And whatever it is that we have said that is not right or not correct or not acceptable to Allah, may Allah forgive us. Our goal is that whatever we say should be impactful positively, and we pray Allah should not use it against us. On the last note, I want to say that my fellow sisters, we should, like Sister Bushra said, let us use this Ramadan as an opportunity to uplift ourselves spiritually, to be better version of ourselves, and to do something different, something unique that can work for us, considering our own unique situation, because everybody's situation is different. And think of that thing that can help your family. Think of that thing that can help your marriage. Think of that thing that you can do as a person to contribute to your community as a Muslim. And inshallah, Allah will bless it and magnify it for you in this Ramadan and also in beyond. So let this Ramadan be an opportunity or an enabling opportunity for you to be the best that you can be, and Allah will accept it from you and from all of us as ibadah, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan.